What's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video counting down my personal top 5 favorite television series of all time. Okay, and I want to say this was a really tough, difficult list of to make, because obviously throughout the course of our lives, a lot of different TV series on, a lot of different ones that connect with everybody in a different way. This is by no means me saying what I think are like the best TV series of all time. No, just my personal favorites. A few people asked me, they wanted to hear what my personal favorites are. I think everybody knows what my top one is, but we'll get to that. I just wanted to kind of do a video letting you guys know personally what are my top 5 favorite TV series of all time, and then you can write yours below in the comments on what your personal top 5 favorite TV series of all time. Now, this isn't just for right now. This is throughout my life. So I've considered how much I liked the series at the time I was watching it. So growing up, for example, if there was a cartoon I watched when I was younger that I really loved a lot, it could be one that could be included in this list because of how I felt about it at that time, even if I don't really watch it nowadays. Like a good example is Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad I watched a lot after it ended in the first year, but I haven't actually watched it since about a year after it ended. One of the best series ever, for sure. So it's not about what I'm watching right now. It's about what are my favorite series that impacted me the most, that I love to watch the most throughout the course of my life. So I hope you guys like this one. Like I said, write your top 5 list below, and let's get into my top 5. Trev's top 5 favorite TV series of all time. So number 5, this is the hardest slot to pick because there's so many shows that I want to put here, but obviously, you can only pick 5 for this. I'll do some honorable mentions that almost got into the 5th spot, and I'll tell you which one got in there after. There's some different anime I really like a lot. Naruto was one of my favorite series of all time. Death Note was another amazing anime that really, I watched that a few times over. It's just incredible. Some of my favorite cartoons, Batman the animated series growing up was huge. X-Men, the animated series growing up, was humongous. You have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the 80s. Anybody who grew up in the 80s who watched the classic Turtles cartoon will know all about that. Such an amazing cartoon for its time. And also Batman Beyond was another cartoon that I really loved growing up. There was some live action series growing up, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Smallville and stuff like that I had watched for a while, but there's none, and Roswell and some other stuff like that, but there's none that really stick out to me now as like ones that I could still watch, or ones that I still really love a lot. I really haven't watched Buffy since I was maybe 13 or something, and it was just randomly on TV when you only got a few stations before I even had cable. So out of all the different ones there to pick from growing up, I think I'm going to have to put in my number 5th, or my 5th spot is going to be, for me, X-Men the animated series. X-Men the animated series was just, what an amazing cartoon, to grow up with, for people that like that style, for people that like comic books, for people that like cartoons, that like to see action, and anybody who's ever felt different in their lives. X-Men, the animated series, and X-Men in general is all about, mutants, of course, who are exiled from the rest of society. The rest of society hates them, doesn't treat them well, views them as outsiders, and anybody can relate to that who's ever felt different in their entire lives, and we all have at certain times. And, as you've seen with the movies, Days of Future Past recently, and all the Wolverine movies, Hugh Jackman doing a great job, the X-Men comic books continuing onward. This, for me, was like my first exposure to the X-Men as a kid growing up, getting to see X-Men the animated series. I absolutely loved it. My first exposure to Wolverine, my first time seeing Cyclops, Jean, the rest of the gang. It was just an amazing cartoon. And even though you couldn't see Wolverine dice anybody up because it was a kid's cartoon show, they still used his claws in a pretty good capacity, having destroying Sentinels, and had some good catchphrases, and just all kinds of fun stuff over the 5 seasons that was X-Men the animated series. And I actually have this one on DVD entirely because I just love it so much. And every once in a while, every few years, I may go back and watch a few episodes. Even though it does feel a bit dated now, it's still just an awesome cartoon. So it gets the top spot, narrowly beating out Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the 80s, which was a really hard call because Turtles was huge too. It might be my number 6. Okay, but moving onwards, because it's only a top 5, X-Men the Animated Series at number 5. Number 4 is going to be a more recent series. I just mentioned it a minute ago, and that is, of course, Breaking Bad, AMC. This one for me is my second favorite AMC TV series of all time. It's another one of those that, just like The Walking Dead, you can get absolutely just engrossed in and just absorbed in the experience. Walter White and his transformation throughout the series. It's definitely one you can watch over and over again. And it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of comedy mixed in, really dark black humor, and just awesome drama at the end. All kinds of awesome stuff that is Breaking Bad. Definitely one of my favorites. The last season there, even though they split it up into 2 years, man, that was one of the best seasons of a TV series ever. And definitely for me, it has to be on this list because it just finished so strong, man. And it was just so much fun in the end. Stay out of my territory. And just some great quotes and some great parts to it. Gus Fring and, what a great show. Bryan Cranston. Oh man, Aaron Paul. Oh, what an amazing series was Breaking Bad. I miss it. I really do. At least we got Better Call Saul now, which is really, really cool, and hopefully that will turn out to be a long-running show as well. But definitely Breaking Bad has to be on this list for me. I just love it. Number 4. Number 3 is going to be one that we're currently watching right now, and that is of Game of Thrones. Depending on how it ends, its spot may change, but definitely, even at this point already, Game of Thrones is such a revolutionary series to me because it's one that doesn't pull any punches. You always wonder, reading comic books or reading novels or reading stories or watching movies, what would happen if such and such character died? What would happen if this character died? And you always feel like certain characters are safe. Game of Thrones really messes with you. It gets you thinking that the Starks, what kind of story it's going to be. First with Eddard, then he gets killed off. Then you think it's going to be okay. It's going to be like a revenge story, and Rob's going to come back, and he's going to win, and that's the kind of story this is going to be. And then Martin pulls a switcheroo on you again, and you still can't believe it afterwards that what happens. And some people actually turn away after that. They don't like the series. Me, I'm okay with losing sometimes. You have to be in life because sometimes you just lose. That's all there is to it. And even if your favorite team or your favorite character gets killed off or loses, it's just an amazing series that makes you care about all these different characters and has so many different twists and turns and character deaths and unpredictable. It's just totally 100% honest to a medieval Civil War type situation with the fantastical elements added in, of course, as well too. But just an amazing series is Game of Thrones. It's going to be my number 3. So narrowly beating that one out, Game of Thrones was almost number 2, but I had to think back to my childhood growing up here, and that is as a late 80s, 90s kid, growing up watching Dragon Ball, man, Dragon Ball Z. When this series hit, pretty much me and every other kid I knew of in my class, got absolutely obsessed with this anime, man. Now, this is something that if you didn't grow up watching it, it may not be the same for you. You may not have checked it out at the right time, or some people just aren't into that. They don't have that imaginative side to them. They don't really like, comic book superhero type stuff. But if you do, if you enjoy that kind of imaginative, superpower side of things, Dragon Ball Z is perfect for you. And you also like action and cartoon animation. I love animation. I still do to this day. I wish it was used more in North America as it is in Japan. But yeah, for me, DBZ has to be high on the list. It's one I can't forget. It's one that I've seen probably 4 or 5 times over every episode pretty much. And it's just, man, it's so epic. My peak part of viewing for that series has to be the Cell Saga. For me, when the Cell Saga was hitting, it was just so exciting. It was something that I looked forward to every day at school. I just think about it all the time and just couldn't wait to see what was going to happen next. After you see Goku become a Super Saiyan and everything like that, it's like the coolest thing you'd ever see, at least for me anyway. So DBZ has to be number 2. And number 1, you guys already know. I don't have to say it. Of course, it's going to be The Walking Dead. You guys see from my backdrop. You know from the channel what kind of videos I like to make, what I enjoy doing. The Walking Dead is my favorite TV series of all time. Also my favorite comic book series. I don't really have to say why. You guys have heard me talk about it so many times before in videos. I've done individual videos on it. I've done, answers in Q&A. Each season that gets released of The Walking Dead, it just solidifies more and more its spot as the top series of all time for me. Peak part, I would say season 5 for me right now. Yeah, that's definitely a peak part in the series, kind of equivalent to Cell Saga and DBZ for me. And then season 3. Season 4, around Too Far Gone, was huge, but then after that, the second half of the season was still awesome. But in terms of like climactic peak parts of the series, I'd have to go with season 3 and season 5. I just really liked Terminus, how that turned out, and Carol, the character development, and really the way they've taken the show into really making us care about each character as we go through. Even though there's so many, Walking Dead doing such a great job of killing off certain characters, keeping it fairly unpredictable, and just so enjoyable for people like Zombie Apocalypse and character development type series. Scott Gimple, absolute genius, doing an amazing job with the series. And, I don't think this one will ever change. I think when I'm 70 years old and I'm watching shows still or whatever, or reading comic books, my favorite will probably always be The Walking Dead. I don't think anything is going to take it out at this point. I don't think anything ever will. But that's just for me, Everybody's different. Everybody has their own tastes and their favorites. And for me, The Walking Dead is mine. It's just, oh man, so exciting, so much fun. My favorite series that's ever been made. So there's my top 5 to count down again. X-Men, the animated series, number 5. Number 4, Breaking Bad. Number 3, Game of Thrones. Number 2, Dragon Ball Z. And number 1, Walking Dead, at least at this current time. In the future, who knows? They may change, There's new series coming out all the time. Fear the Walking Dead will be airing, and, other shows. And it's always subject to change as time goes on. But we'll see, and I really don't think anything will ever top the original Walking Dead series to me. But let me know what you guys think. Write your comments below. Do your top 5 below. And if you like this video, kind of a more personal, kind of favorite, kind of hangout type vlog, talk with you guys. Not really like a review, but just just hanging out with you guys, saying what's up and seeing how you guys are doing and what your favorites are. I'd love to see them. So I will read them afterwards. Please write them. And like I said, giveaway this weekend for Game of Thrones. This week will either be Jon Snow or Daenerys figure. So heads up for that. Anybody who watches the videos and subscribes. And that's all I got for this one for today for you guys. Go ahead and thumb it up below if you wouldn't mind. Share and favorite. Write your list. And if you're new and you want to subscribe, bottom left to go ahead and subscribe. That's it for this one, guys. I'll see you for the next one. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace.